Narciso Olalo predicted global flooding and landslides. For more details, please refer to the links below. China flood catastrophe. Mass evacuations, cities drown millions affected Nepal-China border flood. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=a6krkjwhq. Catastrophic flooding in Texas. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=avdklqwagdm. Heavy rains bring floods, landslides to northern, central Luzon ANC. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=d-f1f98er20. Narciso Olalo. September 12, 2022. Message from God. While I was walking somewhere, I suddenly heard a roar, a deep, echoing roar that seemed to come from nowhere. I stopped and listened. The sound was growing louder, drawing closer. Confused, I looked around and thought, there is no rain. How could there be a flood? I turned back in the direction I had come, trying to understand what I was hearing. To my shock, I saw a massive flood rushing forward, yet there had been no rain. Panic overtook me. I ran, afraid it would overtake me. I looked around, desperate, wondering where the water could have come from. I saw coconut trees and large tree trunks nearby. I considered climbing them to escape, but how? There was nothing to step on, and even if I managed to climb, I feared the trees would fall under the weight of the debris, branches, logs, and uprooted trees carried by the flood. In desperation, I cried out, "Lord, save me, my family, and the people." Then I heard the voice of God thunder. There is no way to run. There is no place to hide. You must wait in the water, mud, and earth to be covered. For those who truly believe in me, in Jesus Christ, have nothing to fear. All of this is happening, and it will happen. The tragedies that have come and that will come are a result of people who do not believe, just as they did not believe before. The tragedy you see is meant to break the pride of those who depend on their own strength and works. Remember, there is no work of man on this earth that can stand against the power of God. Then the voice continued. How many times have you been warned that judgment has begun? Yet people ignore it. They continue to chase after their own curiosities. And because of this, they are replacing God's warnings with even greater tragedies. Everyone will be saved according to their faith. Therefore, let everyone be ready. As I kept running, I heard the roar of the flood again, but this time it was distant. I slowed down, and then I heard God say, "I diverted the flood from where you were standing. It is the power of God that saved you." This is the word of God. And then I woke up. The unstoppable flood and God's judgment. A message from God via Narciso Olalo on September 12, 2022. In this God's message, Narciso Olalo witnesses a sudden, inexplicable flood and experiences fear and desperation before crying out to God for salvation. A powerful voice, identified as God's, then communicates a message emphasizing that the impending tragedies are divine judgment for humanity's unbelief and pride, asserting that no human effort can withstand God's power. The message concludes by stating that salvation will come through faith, and the author is personally saved from the flood by God's intervention, serving as a testament to divine power and mercy. God's power is depicted as an overwhelming, inescapable, and supreme force that governs both destructive judgment and protective salvation. It is a central theme that underscores the futility of human efforts in opposition to divine will. Here are the key aspects of God's power as revealed in the sources. Unstoppable and inescapable force. The initial manifestation of God's power is seen in the massive flood rushing forward, which appeared despite no rain, indicating a supernatural origin. God's voice explicitly states, "There is no way to run. There is no place to hide from this power," implying its pervasive and irresistible nature. The fear that even large trees would fall under the flood's force further illustrates its overwhelming might. Supremacy over human endeavors. A core declaration about God's power is that there is no work of man on this earth that can stand against the power of God. This emphasizes God's absolute superiority over all human strength, works, and pride. The judgment itself is meant to break the pride of those who depend on their own strength and works, highlighting that human self-reliance is rendered meaningless against divine power. Power to judge and amplify tragedies. The ongoing tragedies that have come and that will come are directly attributed to God's judgment, demonstrating a power that causes widespread calamities. Furthermore, when people ignore God's warnings and continue to chase after their own curiosities, they are, in effect, replacing God's warnings with even greater tragedies. This suggests that God's power can escalate the severity of the judgment in response to human disbelief and disregard. Power to protect and save. Despite its destructive potential, God's power is also a source of salvation and protection for those who believe. Narciso Olalo's personal experience serves as a direct testament to this. After crying out for help, God explicitly states, "I diverted the flood from where you were standing." This miraculous intervention is directly attributed to divine power. It is the power of God that saved you. This shows that God's power is not solely for destruction but can also alter natural events to save individuals, provided they have faith. It is stated that for those who truly believe in me, in Jesus Christ, have nothing to fear, as everyone will be saved according to their faith through this divine power. Narciso Olalo is a faith healer recognized as the #1 instrument chosen by God to spread divine messages and guide people toward salvation. He is known for his unique abilities, which include healing the sick through his voice, foreseeing future events and tragedies, and identifying the sins of both living and deceased individuals. Olalo emphasizes that his services are entirely free, as instructed by God, who commanded him not to charge for healing or preaching. His work is rooted in faith, requiring people to believe in both his role as an instrument and in Jesus Christ for healing. He shares God's messages through various platforms, including podcasts, YouTube, and social media. These messages often contain spiritual insights, visions, and interpretations of events meant to inspire faith and guide listeners on the right path. Narciso Olalo's website. https://follower-narcisula.wixsite.com/narcisolalo. YouTube. https://www.youtube.com/c/narcisolalo/videos